Have you ever experienced that chilling moment of looking in the mirror and seeing a stranger staring back? A physical form that seems fundamentally disconnected from the essential, vital spirit you feel within. We have been rigorously trained by modern culture to dismiss our outward presentation as nothing more than superficiality. We are told incessantly that true worth resides exclusively in the unseen, the intangible. But what if this cultural narrative is, in fact, the root of our profound psychological fragmentation? What if the clothes you wear, the condition of your skin, the very posture you adopt are the most honest, unfiltered, and reliable language of your soul? Carl Jung, the towering figure of analytical psychology, argued that this link is not merely casual, but causal. Today, we delve into an uncomfortable but essential truth. You must cultivate a deep, committed addiction to your appearance, not as an act of vanity or self-obsession, but as the foundational discipline of psychological and spiritual integrity. Our exploration will focus on the nexus where Jungian theory meets the mirror. We are examining the proposition that diligent, conscious attention to your physical appearance is not a societal concession, but a profound spiritual practice, a discipline that is absolutely necessary to bridge the chasm between your inner world, your authentic self, and the face you present to the external world, your persona. This is not about being beautiful by conventional standards. It is about being coherent. It is about ensuring that the vessel you inhabit is a faithful, dignified, and respected manifestation of the consciousness it contains. Over the next 20 minutes, we will unpack why ignoring your appearance is, in essence, ignoring your psyche, and how actively mastering this congruence becomes the very engine for the process Jung called individuation, the realization of the complete, unique human being. To understand this imperative, we must first establish the essential components of the Jungian psyche. A. The persona and the crisis of misalignment. The persona, derived from the Latin word for an actor's mask, is the sum of social roles we adopt: the professional, the parent, the friend, the citizen. It is a necessary protective shell, a means of engaging the collective world without exposing the totality of our complexity. However, the crisis begins and psychological stagnation sets in when we mistake the mask for the face beneath it. When the persona, driven by external expectations and validation, becomes fundamentally estranged from the self, which is the total, unifying center of the psyche. Consider the individual who dresses impeccably for work, meticulously curating an image of competence and authority. Yet at home, they descend into chaos, wearing clothes riddled with holes, surrounded by clutter. The persona is polished, the self is neglected. This profound disparity generates internal friction, a psychic dissonance that manifests as anxiety, depression, or an overwhelming sense of meaninglessness. B. The body as the bulletin board of the unconscious. When the internal self is neglected, when the physical vehicle is treated with contempt or indifference, the body becomes the bulletin board of the unconscious. It speaks the truth that the conscious mind refuses to acknowledge. It is here that self-neglect, a lack of vitality, and physical disorder are displayed for all to see. Your posture, your gait, the level of care invested in your hair or your clothing, all are not trivial aesthetic choices. They are non-verbal communiques. They broadcast your level of self-respect. If you are broadcasting contempt for your vessel, Why should the world, or indeed your own subconscious mind, treat you any differently? The outward presentation is the clearest, most immediate metric of your inner order and discipline. C. The mirror as the gateway to the unconscious. The simple act of looking into the mirror transcends mere reflection. It becomes a psychological gateway. The tension you feel, that fleeting discomfort or surge of self-criticism, is not necessarily about physical features. It is the immediate, visceral recognition of the disparity between the ideal self you know you could be and the reality of the self you choose to present. The mirror reveals what Jung termed the shadow, those rejected, suppressed parts of the personality. When we neglect our appearance, we are often projecting the shadow of indifference onto our own physical form. To turn away from the mirror or to avoid taking care of one's appearance is a subtle act of self-avoidance. It is the fear not of ugliness, but of confronting the psychological gap, the distance between your current action and your highest integrity. The addiction we discuss is therefore a commitment to self-integrity. It is the ritualization of respect. How do we translate this Jungian demand for alignment into daily life? A. The ritual of intention, the morning sacrament. Treat your morning preparation, the act of grooming, showering, choosing your attire, not as a chore to be rushed, but as a sacred ritual. This is your 10-minute sacrament. During this time, you consciously and intentionally bridge the gap between yourself and your persona. Focus on the sensation of cleanliness, the intention behind the clothing you choose. Ask yourself, what character am I embodying today, and how can I honor that role with dignity? This process transforms mundane habit into mindful psychological intention. When you consciously prepare yourself, you prepare your mind. B. The non-negotiable standard. Establish a minimum standard for your personal presentation that you never, under any circumstances, allow yourself to drop below. This standard must exist independently of who you are going to see or what tasks the day holds. It is an internal contract of respect. Your minimum standard could be as simple as, my clothes must always be clean, ironed, and free of holes. Or, my hair must always be consciously styled. This standard acts as a psychological floor. By upholding this baseline, even in solitude, you communicate to your unconscious that you are worthy of your own highest effort. This is not about performing for others, it is about self-authorization. C. Practicing the true mirror principle. Stand before your mirror at the end of your preparation. Do not assess beauty, assess honesty. Ask the man or woman in the reflection 3 penetrating questions. Does this persona represent my highest values today? Does this physical state honor the quality of my internal work? Am I presenting myself with the respect I believe I deserve? If the answer to any of these questions is a clear and immediate no, you must make an adjustment. The discomfort you feel is the voice of the self calling the persona back into alignment. Use that tension constructively. We began by questioning the nature of vanity. We conclude with the realization that genuine, disciplined attention to one's physical presentation is, at its core, an act of supreme psychological maturity. It is the active, continuous process of weaving the persona and the self into a unified, robust, and coherent whole, the culmination of the process of individuation. When your inner and outer worlds are aligned, your energy is no longer wasted on managing internal contradictions. It is freed for the vital work of living. Now that you understand the profound, non-trivial connection between your outer presentation and your inner psychological landscape, you possess the crucial knowledge to transform your choices from mundane habits into deliberate, meaningful acts of self-mastery. The true addiction is not to the reflection, but to the integrity it courageously represents.